It's the 21st century, and it's time for you to break free from the old ideas, the old beliefs, the old shackles that have been holding you back and keeping you bound in misery and failure. It's time to learn the truth about your power and about what's really going on in the world. Everything that you see and experience is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Nothing more, but nothing less. Learn the truth. Change your life. Change the planet. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Reality Changer Radio. I am your host, Dickey, and it is Tuesday, February 4th at 6 p.m. And for the next 30 or 40 minutes, I will be helping to guide you through some of the issues of the law of attraction, manifesting, your source energy, the truth of the reality that is around you, as opposed to what you've been programmed to believe is the truth. Tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read once again, as I did a few times in the past, from a Louise Hay book. It's actually Abraham-Hicks. It's The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent, Living the Art of Allowing. And this is really important stuff. I do this every so often when I feel that something needs to be reiterated. And tonight I'm going to be reading from chapter 31. And if you have the book, you should get the book if you don't have it. If you do have it, it's on page 135. And it's called The Value of Improved Vibrational Relativity. And every so often, when a valid point comes up, I'm going to stop and make my own call on it to see if I can explain it a little deeper to make it easier to understand. A lot of times, a lot of people listening to the show, they're right on the cusp of understanding what it's all about, but sometimes you just need a little nudge, and then it all becomes real clear. The value of improved vibrational relativity. Often, when considering the idea of being the creator of their own reality, people will argue that it is extremely difficult to be standing in the middle of a very much unwanted condition, and at the same time offer more pleasant thoughts about their future experience. They argue that it would be so much easier to create a bright and beautiful future from a more pleasant now experience. We understand their thinking, and we do agree that it is easier to feel good under positive conditions than negative ones. Therefore, we understand people's wishes that things could have gone better for them before now, so that now could be a happier launching pad for that which is still to come. Some people feel deep resentment over the unpleasant facts of their earlier life experiences, as they recount unpleasant details of unfairness or even physical abuse that took place during their childhood. They often feel defensive, and we do not argue with their right to feel that way. We often agree that under the conditions they have lived, their negative response is justified. But we also add that even though they're justified in their negative response to what happened to them, still, that negative emotion indicates they are holding themselves in a place where they cannot receive what they really desire. And those words, however, usually only serve to annoy them, for they feel the way they feel. And they have been practicing this position for so long that our words, even though very wise ones, do not dissuade them from their practiced belief about the injustices they have experienced. I'm going to stop there and try to explain how what you just heard is in essence a lot of the blocks that hold you back when you're trying to be successful. These negative things that have happened to you in the past, they have created these images and feelings for you. And understand that your beliefs create your thoughts, and your thoughts create your feelings. That being said, your reality is created from the feelings that emanate from you. So, if you start thinking about how you were beat up as a kid by your parents, for instance, then you start feeling really bad about that, and you start thinking about how you don't want to do that, and you don't want to do that, and you don't want to do that, and all you really think about is how much you don't want to do that. And with the law of attraction, with manifesting, with all of this, with your connection with the universe, what you focus your intention on most is exactly what you're going to have. So to be aware of what happened to you in a negative space is vitally important, but only to the extent of understanding what may be holding you back. Not to labor on it, not to keep bringing it up, but to understand which box it needs to be put in. Because that story is just that, it's a story, it's in the past. And yes, it was horrible, yes, it was bad, and everyone would agree. But for you to not allow it to go, it's holding you back. And when you're trying to decide how you're going to manifest a better life, a happier life, a more productive life, whatever that looks like, you need to know where you're coming from. I always tell everybody column A, column B. In column A, you put all the crap in your life. And you draw lines, this, and this. And then in column B, what does your life look like without that? So you need to address these negative things that have happened to you or are happening to you at the moment so that you can see the other side of the coin, so to speak, because that other side is what you're going to want to focus on. Not column A, where all the crap is. Column B, where the other side of the coin is. That's what you're going to focus on. That's what you're going to manifest, as if column A never existed. Okay? Let's continue. Have you been creating deliberately or by default? Many of our physical friends feel a deep memory stirring when we explain to them that they are the creator of their own reality. They do want to create their own reality. And many, in time, resonate with the idea that they are vibrationally based beings living in a vibrationally based universe. And often, they even accept the idea that they are born with an emotional guidance system within them that helps them know the content of their own personal vibrational offering, which helps them to know at all times if what they are in the process of creating will be pleasing to them when it arrives. But most people, even those who consciously acknowledge their vibrational nature and emotional guidance system, still offer most of their vibrations and therefore create most of their reality by default. They do so because they offer most of their vibrations in response to the reality that they are observing rather than in response to the reality they prefer, which is what I always talk about old school programming. You're taught to react to the external instead of act and create the external. Okay? There is something so compelling about what has already materialized into your experience. You call it reality. You call it fact. You call it evidence. You call it proof. You document it in writing and with pictures. You call it history. And in doing all of that, you overlook the absolutely temporary nature of it, whatever it is. From our point of view, you have allowed your reality to hold a more dominant place in your perception of life than it deserves. And by your ardent attention to your current reality, you slow your progress to the reception of even more pleasing now experiences. We would like you to understand that now is mostly only the platform from which you move into what is next. And life is really about the moving into what is next. We want you to recall the delicious nature of focusing upon the sensation of creating your own reality rather than giving so much attention to the reality that you are creating. Can you feel the distinction? You're traveling on two concurrent journeys. We visited recently with a woman who was experiencing the severe discomfort of arthritic hips. Her current state of reality was one of nearly constant physical discomfort. If we could just help her to understand that her painful physical condition is only the temporary place that she is currently standing, then she could begin to move to a better feeling condition immediately. If we could just get her to focus upon where she is moving to, instead of focusing upon the reality that is right now occurring, if we could just get her to focus upon the sensation of moving to a better feeling place, rather than focusing upon the reality that seems to have concluded, her situation would begin to improve immediately. We wanted to help her see that there are two journeys running along concurrently in her experience. The action journey, or the reality of her painful arthritic hips, and the emotional journey, the emotion that she is choosing to feel as she moves through her day. From her current reality, or the platform from which she is now launching into her next experiences, she has these choices. 1. She has painful arthritic hips and feels fear, anger, worry, blame, or despair. Or she has painful arthritic hips and feels hope. You see, her current condition of painful hips is her action journey. That is happening. It is reality. That is her current condition. And we certainly can understand why it would have her attention. But if she could, just for a little while, try to focus upon her emotional journey, if she could just accept that her hips hurt for now and set that action journey aside in her mind for just a little while and focus upon her emotional journey options, then her vibrational point of attraction would begin to change. And in doing that, her physical condition would begin to change. You cannot continue to offer the same vibration that got you where you are. And now to get someplace different, you have to do something different with your attention, with your focus, and with your vibration. I'm going to stop there for a minute. You'll hear a lot of people talk about, well, I understand that, but it's so difficult, it's so difficult. What makes things so difficult for people is the old school programming where we've been taught that we have no control. In a nutshell, that's what you're taught because that's how you're raised. You're raised as a slave who is at the whim of your slave master. And your slave master is your guardians, your parents, your grandparents, whoever that may be, or a foster home. Okay? And the traditional way of bringing up children is that you have total control over the child because you honestly believe they don't know anything that you're not telling them because you've been brought up to believe that. Everyone's been brought up to believe that there's no such thing as a powerful spiritual being unless they go to church on Sunday, or whatever that looks like. Quite the opposite is true, folks. Quite the opposite. Everyone is created from God's source. Everyone is a powerful spiritual being. And that's the end of that. There is none of this, you need to have control over somebody so that you can teach them how to live a prosperous life. No, that's not necessary. What is supposed to be happening, and hopefully eventually after quite a few generations it will happen, what is supposed to be happening is every adult is supposed to be waking up to the concept that we can control every single day. And when Esther Hicks talks about, are you creating deliberately or creating by default, it goes into what I talk about. You have two options. You have free will. You manifest 24/7, whether you want to know it, want to like it, want to care or not. You don't have an option. Your options are your free will. Number one, you can live by default, which is creating by default. And you can choose to ignore the fact that these things emanate from you and that you can control them. Or your other option, because if you have free will, is you can acknowledge that these feelings emanate from you 24/7 and that's what creates your reality. And you can acknowledge that, yeah, I'm tired of living by default like I was told I had to, and I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to take control. Now that's difficult for a lot of people because what that entails, folks, is taking 100% responsibility for everything that happens to you. No more blame game, no more pointing fingers, no more whining for daddy to come fix it. Because the real reality is you're the only one involved, aside from the people who have manipulated your belief system into thinking that you need somebody else and then feeling like you're a lost little child when supposedly nobody cares. Your beliefs dictate your thoughts, which create your feelings, and those feelings emanate the energy that creates your reality. So the root of it all is your belief system. If there's an evil empire that we could talk about, it's the old school programming where you were taught to, as they mention in here, react to the present reality instead of create your reality. Because what you're reacting to is feelings from your past, and I mean like the last 24 hours, 48 hours, the last week, whatever, that have created your present reality. It's not something that just came along that the postman dropped off on his route, and now you have to do something about it. It is your design, your creation, every single time. Whether you choose to acknowledge it doesn't change its essence. Whether you choose to live by default or live by control doesn't change the process. The process is never ending and the process is never changing. It's always the same. What emanates from you surrounds you. Plain and simple. People, you can't change people. They just exist. People, well, he changed. No, your perception of him changed. Something about your new reality changed. People exist, plain and simple. People can, on their own planes of existence and reality, change according to themselves. I myself, I used to be a really angry guy. But I've gone through a lot in the last couple of years, and I've learned a lot. And I'm not that angry anymore. I'm not angry 99% of the time. So I can say I've changed. Others may observe me and through their perception of me say there's something different about him. But their perception of me didn't change me. And I didn't change for them. So their perception of me changes their perception of me. You can't change anybody. You have to change yourself. And by changing yourself, you change the energy that emanates from you. And by changing that energy, you change the reality that you're experiencing at the moment. Okay? Let's go on here because we still have some time. And let's go into chapter 32, the action journey and the emotional journey. Focus on the idea of moving your physical body from one place to another. Maybe you're in your vehicle on the highway, driving to another city, or walking down a trail in the woods, with a backpack filled with food and supplies. In each example, you probably have a clear idea of your destination. You are purposely moving from one place to another with an intention of arriving somewhere. We will call this your action journey, your actual journey of action. This actual journey can be described in very factual terms. You can identify the distance you plan to travel. You can describe the weather that is occurring. You can estimate with fair accuracy your estimated time of arrival. There are many straightforward, easy to understand, quantifiable aspects to this action journey that you have embarked upon. Now we want to call your attention to another part of your journey. And it is this perspective of your journey that will actually set the tone for everything that will subsequently happen in your life experience. For your journeys are not only the cut and dried factual experiences of moving from one place to another. They are much more about the way you feel as you travel. We call this aspect of your experiences your emotional journey. So we want you to understand that you are never only upon one of these journeys. In every moment, you are experiencing two concurrent journeys. Your action journey, your awareness of time, space, and things already manifested, and your emotional journey, your vibrational response to your powerful moment in time from which all future experiences are molded. There are endless potential combinations of action journeys and emotional journeys, and we will offer some examples of those here. We want you to come to know that the most important aspect of any journey is the emotional aspect. For if you are aware of how you feel and are able to affect those feelings deliberately, then, and only then, will you have conscious control over all future outcomes in your life experience. We call this deliberate creation. On the other hand, if your dominant focus is upon the action journey, observing and responding to the things that are happening right now in your experience, allowing your feelings to naturally follow the patterns of your observations, and making no effort to guide your feelings, but merely responding to conditions and circumstances, then you will have no conscious control of your own life experience. We call this creating by default. And folks, this is what I'm talking about here. Deliberate creation, I'll read it again. If you are aware of how you feel and are able to affect those feelings deliberately, they call that deliberate creation. Your feelings are going to create your reality whether you control them or not. No option, no choice. It doesn't change. That's the way the book is written. And I mean the cosmic book. That's what you have to deal with. If you, as you've been taught by conventional old school programming, just react to what is out there, then you are living by default. You're deliberately creating by default. So you're default creating. You have no options, and it's not going to get you anywhere except more frustrated, more angry, more sad, more self-doubt, more depression. It's a vicious cycle. So everybody needs to understand that this is the truth. You can change your life. You can change the lives of children. No longer should children be taught that they're powerless. No longer should the children be taught that they need others in order to exist in a successful, happy atmosphere and life, because that's all wrong. You don't need somebody else to make you happy. Nobody can make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. And if you're doing things and you're not happy, then I have to call you to the table and ask you, what are you doing and why? Okay? So before I get into some of the things that are going on this week, I want you to do some homework and take a piece of paper and a pencil. Always write down stuff. Never use the computer. It's different energy. It won't be the same for you. Write down the top 5 people that are closest to you in order of importance. Like number 1 would be the most important person in your life, and number 2 would be the second most important person in your life. And ask yourself, what are the top 3 traits, good, bad, or indifferent, that they have? And then I would check off, make little boxes for yourself and say happy, sad, or in between. And check off what you feel they are most of the time. And then look over this list, because I'm telling you right now, you are the sum of these people, because we've been taught to emulate those closest to us. And we've been taught to take on their feelings. Now, that's not what you're supposed to do, but it doesn't change the fact that that's what you've been taught. Okay? So do yourself a favor and make that list and just take a look at it. You are the sum of those 5 people. Okay? And if things don't look all that good, you might want to do some heavy meditation about changing your relationships. Okay? Now, before we end this tonight, I want to let you know that February 22nd, I'm going to be doing a special workshop at the Owl's Lantern in Fullerton about your love life. February is the month of love, Valentine's Day and everything. So check out my website, whatyouget.com, and look at the class page for the information on February 22nd. The contact information is there. You get a special deal if you sign up early. Seating is limited, so please make sure that you get your name in early enough. We only have 17 days, okay? And also we're planning a big 6-hour manifesting intensive in April. And every month I'll be doing special workshops on abundance and health and wealth, and a lot more meetup groups. We just started a blog, Reality Changer 57 at blogspot.com. So check out the blog. There's going to be lots of cool information on there, along with a lot of cool videos from people around the world like Wayne Dyer, Bruce Lipton, Esther Hicks, that I feel you need to have on a regular basis to keep up with what's actually going on. And you just need to keep practicing and keep studying, okay? So everybody come out on the 22nd and join me in Fullerton. It's a Saturday. We're going to be doing a 3-hour workshop from 2 to 5 about your love life, and we're going to be holding a raffle, okay? So we're going to be giving away a special gift for the raffle, so you want to get in on that, and it's going to be cool. I think everyone's going to have a lot of fun. If you look at the comments that some of the people have made on the class page from the workshops that they've been in, you'll see that people really enjoy it and getting a lot of success from it. So it's Dave Dickey, Reality Changer Radio. Check out the website, whatyouthink.com, and click on the classes page for the information about the workshop on the 22nd. And until next week, I hope all of you have learned something tonight and start living life on your terms. Remember, you are just as powerful as anybody else, and you can be just as successful as anybody else. Okay? My love to all of you. I hope you have a fantastic week and a fantastic life. And until next time, I'm signing out. Take care, everybody. See you next week.